The continent of Africa is totally undefended. We have been a rather naive people in relationship to nation building. There isn't a truly free nation in Africa today. They're all imitation European states, and poor imitations at that. The European created the nation state. Let him have it. The African created the territorial state. And what we need to understand, that the African created a culture container that blended with his culture intention. Wade Noble has given us the comparison of saltwater fish in fresh water. It's a good analogy. There's not enough substance in this society to sustain us because it is an artificial society. We have to create some of the conditions of salt water symbolically in order to live in this fresh water. We will never thrive completely in a society that reduces us to less than human, because the European is terribly insecure. He is so insecure, he's not safe until he makes other people feel insecure. I'm saying, and I'm going to conclude with this because there really is no conclusion, that we have to take a good look at what we are and how we relate. We have to take a good look at our enemies, and maybe we need to call for white studies programs also. What makes a people so sick that they think they've got to dominate everything in the world? You're in an enviable position. You should have prepared yourself to rescue Africa. Once you rescue Africa in the islands of the Pacific, and once you realize that there's maybe 1 billion African people on the face of this earth, if we want to build an economic system, at least 1/3 of all those people can be working, making goods and services for each other. Then we have to start someplace. Then suppose we say we won't wear any shoes we don't make. Look how many shoe factories we'd have to open. We won't eat any food that didn't come from one of our farms. Look how many farms we'd have to put in action. We won't even bury our beloved ones in a coffin we didn't make. We take the coffin business away from the mafia. Look how many coffin factories we'd have to have. I suggest that that is a starting point. And let's start with an item no one's looking at. Let's start by saying we will wear no underwear we don't make. Now, what excuse do you have for not taking care of that one item? Let's begin our road towards self-reliance. That one item of people who cannot make their underwear cannot rule a nation. Why did I choose underwear? It's covered up. Only your private person, your beloved person got in the business looking at it. And she or he can say, dear, the seams are not straight. we better make better underwear. And you know how well we like to look pretty dressed and partly dressed. Our underwear makers will get on the job and make the prettiest stuff. You want to wear it to a party. My main point is that while eldership is the basis of it all, there is no solution for us coming out of Europe, because nothing the European mind devised was ever meant to do anything other than to facilitate European control over the world. The European is clear about this. You have confusion. He divides nothing but no one. This is why, with all the great admiration I have for Nelson Mandela, I detect more than a touch of political naivete if he thinks he's going to build a non-racial society in South Africa. Everywhere the world the European go, he will rule or run. And he is clear about that. He didn't go into anybody's country for them to rule. He go to take what he wants to. And to run it if he can't run it. The greatest imperial nation in the world today is the United States. The United States, more than any other nation, helped to kill the African independent explosion, to keep any of these nations from being stable. Now, what are we going to do? Affect a wedding between the African away from home and the Africans at home. The Africans in Africa might be the lock, might hold the lock to Africa's future, but I think the African away from home might have the key. While fighting for our oppressor, while working for our oppressor, for fighting for in our oppressor's wars, we are the best trained people in the world in combined operational military technique, land, air, and sea. Living in a highly technical nation, we developed so much technology just by living here. We must combine our respective talent in a nationalist and pan-Africanist method that will change the face of Africa and subsequently the face of the world, and we can do this without conquering anyone's nation and without threatening any nation outside of the African sphere of influence. We're the only people who have that great opportunity to do that. We stand at the brink of a new age of man. We need to start that process of dynamic change. I say if you want an ally, find a mirror. And don't move from that mirror until you like what's staring back at you. Then you say to what's staring back at you, if you have any understanding of revolution, you and I will start a revolution that will change the world. We might start it tomorrow. But if you are truly sincere and understand the nature of revolution and the urgency of revolution, you will say, you and I will start our revolution today.